The date was November 10th, 1951, and Sir Hugh Beaver went on a shooting party in the North Slob.
North Slob? That's what my ex-wife used to call me when I went moose hunting in the UP.
By the River Slaney in County Wexford, Ireland. After missing a shot at a golden plover, he became involved in an argument over which was the fastest game bird in Europe, the golden plover or the red grouse. Psst, it is the plover. That evening at Castlebridge House, he realized that it was impossible to confirm in reference books whether or not the golden plover was indeed Europe's fastest game bird. Beaver knew that there must be numerous other questions debated nightly in pubs throughout Ireland and abroad. But there was no book in the world with which to settle arguments about records. He realized then that a book supplying the answers to this sort of question might prove successful. Well, Beaver's idea became a reality when, in 1954, an employee of a certain brewery recommended two of his friends who had been running a fact-finding agency in London. They went on to create the book. That first year, 1,000 copies of the book were printed and given away. The name on the front? The Guinness Book of World Records.
The Foley artist himself.
Yeah, so these are nitrogenated drafts, nitrogenated stouts from Guinness.
Yeah.
Did you know that backstory about the Guinness Book of World Records?
Of course not. I had no idea that it was even related to Guinness, the beer.
No, I had no idea.
Why would I? But man almighty, is that an intense backstory. And I love that they were just getting in a fight about what the fastest game bird was.
Yeah.
Which probably isn't even a record you can prove. Like, what? That can't be a record. Yeah, so we're pouring this Guinness, and it's beautiful.
Now, there are instructions on the package about how to pour this beer. You want to hear them, Joe?
Read them to the dear listener.
Hey, listeners, you want to hear them? You want to hear them? Give it to me. Yeah. Tell me how bad you want to hear them. Yeah. Okay, step 1, open the can. Step 2, wait. You idiots. It says right on there, because it knew we weren't going to. Step 3, tilt your glass 45 degrees. Step 4, pour it. Step 5, let the beer settle. Step 6, drink it. Well, so when it gets to like just a little bit of head still on the top, you can drink it, I think.
No, I kind of dove right in. They should have called me an idiot again, and I would have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, Joe.
To Guinness, we say. Tastes like Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
So Guinness, I guess, is characterized by like a kind of like this burnt sort of taste, but also a tangy taste. That's sort of the Guinness standard.
The Guinness Gambit.
The Guinness Gambit. Let's see here.
Alex
I'm looking at the Guinness Alex Gamberg. So it's tangy flavor, burnt flavor, derived from malted barley and roasted unmalted barley. So a lot of that kind of roastiness to it.
Guinness, little roasty toasty.
And I know this is how it's pronounced, and I still inadvertently called it Guinness Draught rather than Guinness Draft, because on every Guinness it's Draught. Should we address it? Should we address it early? So we are drinking our Guinnesses out of a can, our Guinness Drafts out of a can, and at the bottom of every can of Guinness Draft is something they call a widget. So let's bring it up. I got a copy if you got a copy. The little plastic ball is called a widget at the bottom of every Guinness can. It adds the right kind of head on their thick and creamy stout, which is less fizzy than regular lager beers like Bud Light. When Guinness is canned, the brewers add a shot of liquid nitrogen to help pressurize it. So this kind of releases that nitrogen. And that's why it's like a ping pong ball in there.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's ready for beer pong?
We are starting.
You think you're going to play some beer pong, are you?
You think you're going to be some kind of beer pong lard. Shout out to Eric Barkhouse for that. Hey, did we cheers already?
We
or
did.
Did we not? You didn't even drink any of it.
Yeah, I did. I poured more.
Oh, double cheers then. How's it going down in the beginning?
It's fine. It seems a little bit thinner than I remember Guinness being,
Me too.
honestly. It's like a very light taste.
Yeah, not much flavor.
No.
I think I was always just intimidated by it, like the color and the spectacle of Guinness.
You've had Guinness before?
Yeah, I've had it,
I've had it on tap. It seemed much thicker than this. Maybe that's a known issue.
Well, Guinness is one of those beers that has like a huge difference between tap, bottle, and can. There's all sorts of, I think, arguments. But Guinness is one of the rare beers, I believe, that people argue Guinness out of a can is the preferred way to go because of the widget that introduces the nitrogen, reduces the head. I don't know if there's
so
any
it's
sort
not
of
like our
science to
beloved
that.
Blatz that is the same out of bottle, can, or
No,
tap.
it's not. It has some nuance to it, but it doesn't really taste like it. Like it's pretty mellow. There's
is
really
mellow.
not much to it.
I know there's an extra stout that you can get. Maybe that's what I had previously that was a little bit heavier.
Yeah, this is just your standard Guinness Draft Stout. St. James's Gate, Dublin, Ireland.
So that's where the original brewery is, St. James Gate.
Yes.
Do you want to read the history on that back in, 1751?
Yeah, so let's see here as I bring it up. Actually, it's 1759. God. Arthur Guinness started brewing ales at St. James Gate Brewery in Dublin, but he signed a 9,000-year lease at 45. What is that currency? Euro? That's not. Maybe in Wikipedia they're now writing in euro.
Yeah, maybe they converted it.
Per annum for the unused brewery. So he has a 9,000-year lease starting in December 1759. So in December 759, lease is up, baby. You can go. You can get in on this.
You're
Guinness
out on
action.
your ass, James. What was his name? Arthur.
Arthur Guinness. So yeah, and then he started. So obviously, this beer is now 259 years old, and carries with it a lot of history. It's still the best-selling beer in Ireland. The flavor is what it is, but I think it's very distinctive. Like looking at it, people I think would
Can't
call
see
it
through it.
black, but it actually is a super dark ruby red. So this is a red beverage, but it's just very darkened with a white head.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
And it's good. It is. It goes down well. Not too carbonated. I think that's what's nice about it.
But I think it's one of those beers that we've had throughout the course of the show. It's iconic, and it's the mystique of it is like intimidating. You brought it in, I was like, oh shit, we're doing the Guinness episode. Like we got to read up on history and shit.
Yeah.
For instance, the can, this harp on the can. What does the harp mean?
Why don't you harp on about it?
It's a famous harp, and it's the harp is on the national seal or flag of Ireland, national emblem of the Republic of Ireland.
But I've read that Guinness trademarked the harp before the country of Ireland did.
Of Ireland.
Of Ireland.
Are we going to just try to give a couple more sentences, or are we going to keep it going? Of Ireland. The harp. The harp which serves as the Guinness emblem.
I just had a little bit of foam, pardon me, on my mustache. Licked it off. Very good. That was the best taste I had all
parable
day.
or terrible? Terrible indeed.
With my mustache.
It's based on a famous 14th century Irish harp. And it's been synonymous since 1862. It trademarked it in 1876. And then, it wasn't until 1922 that the government actually stepped in and made it part of its emblem. So
typical government.
Yep, getting in late. But that's how ingrained Guinness is to the history of Ireland.
Right, yeah. And I was reading that this harp that is the redesign would make almost no sound if it was played, they were saying, because of the way that the strings are arranged.
There's like 15 strings on this harp.
And it's like curved in such a way, I think was the problem, that it would not make
so it went
any
totally
noise.
for like this graphic design without any...
Because it almost, and what I always thought it was like a shield. Like
I've
Central
never
Florida
looked too
Knights
closely at it.
type looking logo.
Totally, yeah.
That's always what I thought it was. Never even thought harp. But who knew?
Who could say?
Now
really?
we do.
Yeah, now we do. And our listeners of Cold Can Nation.
Cold Cans, I think it's derogatory to call them listeners. I want to Cold Cans Nation.
I like addressing them as the listener.
I don't like it.
Well, they're not participating right now. This is our time, baby.
I know, but this will exist. This recording will exist for over 9,000 years.
For eons. Yeah, we're taking a 9,000-year lease. We signed a 9,000-year lease. We had to pay up front at the studio.
One's a doozy. We're never getting out of this one.
We fucked up.
Speaking of leases, I did sign a 17-month lease at my most recent apartment.
Very specific. What? Not 18
Well, it
months.
was between 15 and 18 months to get the best value, baby.
Well, what did they
price.
knock off? Like, how much?
Not
did
at
they knock
liberty
off?
to say.
Oh, come on. What's your rent? What's your address? Where can everybody find you?
We asked Cold Cans Nation for their net income on the survey that everybody
Still feels
filled
shady about it.
out. We do.
But hey, go to coldcanspodcast.com/survey. Fill it out yourself. Just mark the highest income or the lowest. Just skip it. It's anonymous.
Yeah, who cares?
Anyway, yeah, I could have signed a 24-month lease at my place, but it was like, yeah, if you do, we're gonna knock off like $20 a month off your rent. And, fuck you. That's not worth
That's a fool's-
guaranteeing an extra year.
Right.
But
That's what it's scary, honestly. I've never been in a lease that's that long,
yeah, you're
except for living in my parents' house. Tell you what.
yeah, but that lease is forever. You'll always be able to go back.
No, that's true.
It's flexible too. You're month to month at the parents' house. Always month to month.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you're in for about a 60-month lease, maybe 30-year lease sometimes. But you always tell people it's month to month.
Month to month.
Mom's basement.
In this economy, you kidding me?
Yeah, it only makes fiscal sense to move back in with the parents.
Leases are scary, though. Like, who do you think that lease was scarier for? James Guinness or Arthur
9,000
Guinness
year
or
lease?
the landlord?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It depends. So $45 a year.
And is this a lease to own situation or no?
Well, I would say, yeah. I mean, so basically he was saying, I'm locking this up for my family, generations as far out as I could see. And I wonder if he had to pay, up front, like all of it. I wonder if that was part of it.
Yeah.
But then why bother calling it a lease? Just buy the fucking property.
I don't know.
Very strange.
And there was no further explanation of it anywhere online.
And we're online. You got to know that as we do the show, the Cold Cans boys are logged on. Well, this is going down pretty well, but one thing I've been eyeballing over in the corner of the table, the Parable or Terrible.
The
you brought
PRT.
in. I know the
It's been a
listeners'
while.
favorite segment. It has been a while.
It's been a while.
And I do say, it's been a while. I do say our listeners' favorite segment.
You
Not
say it
anything else,
often.
not friends, not Cold Cans Nation. They're the fucking listeners. You hear that, guys?
God,
You're nothing but listeners to me.
this is disgusting.
All right,
I might walk out of the studio.
what do you got here?
I was looking on the Guinness website,
Okay.
and they have a section that says recipes and pairings.
Mm-hmm.
And this beer paired well with what is listed as like a baked cheddar cranberry. It's basically like a baked brie, but you do it with cheddar that's infused with cranberries.
Pooh.
And so I was at my local QFC.
Yep.
And this was the only cheese they had with cranberries in it. It's a Wensleydale with cranberries.
Wensleydale.
A fresh young cheese well complemented by the brightness and sweetness of cranberries.
Huh. I do like cranberry cheeses. I
Me
don't know
too.
why that fruit specifically goes so well in cheese.
Is it the tartness, you think? Or what do you think it is?
I don't know.
Though they
there's-
are sweetened cranberries. It's not like it's just pure, unadulterated cranberries.
Hey, it's a family show, Nick.
There you
so
go.
pass one over. I don't know what it is, but I always do like cranberry cheeses. So
We're
I'll eat, you talk.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
wait.
eating these on Triscuit Thin Crisps, baby. You've had regular Triscuits. Time to lose some weight, fatty. Yeah. Go for the Triscuit Thin Crisps. These are in a triangle shape, whereas normal Triscuits...
Is that what makes them thin crisps? That the shape is different?
No, they're thinner as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Easier to go down the gullet. Though they're not better for slunking off a slice of cheese from this big block, and I don't have a knife.
No, I know.
So it
You've
would have been better
trying
to
point
have
the
the-
triangle as if it is like a butter knife or
Yeah,
something, but
yeah.
it hasn't worked so well.
All right, how did it go down?
Very well. This is as obvious of a parable as it gets. That's a really just cheese and sort of anything creamy and rich and roasted like this goes very well together. But the fruitness is obviously good too. That cranberry stuff. What do you think? You push the mic away. This is where you're gonna bring it back in and then be like, "Oh, hey, you keep talking, Joel. I don't get to get a fucking word
That
in."
has never happened. You keep bringing that up. We need to start videotaping these. Videotaping.
The listeners don't get to watch; they get to listen.
Yeah. Their listeners are good people, and I love them.
I have contempt for the listeners.
I loved it. Yeah, it was parable. Very
Parable,
parable.
very parable indeed. Parable.
Star Wars character now.
The Paul F. Tompkins impression of a Star Wars character. All
Right.
right, back to the beer. Getting a little drunk. I can feel it as I do Paul F. Tompkins doing Star
PF
Wars characters.
Tomcast. There's also talk about, is Guinness good for you? Because they used to do advertisements like Guinness for your strength and something about a toucan. Carrying Guinness. It's a lovely day for Guinness. They have a lot of iconic old ads, as most brands that are this
Been around
old.
259 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so CNN did a deep dive on whether this is indeed good for you. They talked to
I'm inclined not to believe anything that fucking
rag
bullshit network tries to churn out.
Okay, so a professor
I'm not buying it.
Professor of brewing sciences at University of Cal Davis said that most beers contain significant amounts of antioxidants, B vitamins, silicon, which can protect against osteoporosis.
Get it out,
but not against the twisted tongue. Yeah, soluble fiber and prebiotics, which promote the growth of good bacteria in your gut.
Oh boy, I see why you climbed into this. I see what you got in this bed.
But also, they said Guinness in particular might be more healthy because it contains the most folate of any of the imported beers they analyzed.
Healthy gut health-wise,
folate
right?
is a B vitamin that bodies need to make DNA and other genetic material. And I believe folate is what
you're going to have
pregnant
DNA up
women
to your
take.
Gills. You're going to have so much fucking DNA, you're not going to be able to know what to do with it. What does improving your DNA even mean? That's gibberish.
What?
Fake news.
Folate is what your body needs to make DNA.
Why whose
pregnant
body is
women take
struggling
folate?
Pregnant women. So you're saying pregnant women should be down in gallons
drinking
of
Guinness. Speaking of gallons of Guinness.
Is that really something that people, you're in the community of people worried about bullshit health concerns. Is it something people are concerned about, is not generating enough DNA?
I have no idea about that. That's one I don't know.
Okay, good. So it's off that radar completely. But pregnant women, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Although it can't be that simple. It can't just be make a bunch more DNA. Like they need more DNA. Oh, my DNA is depleted. I don't have enough. I'm losing identity. What does it mean?
I don't know the biology of it. Do you need to produce DNA to regenerate your cells?
Who could say, really?
God, we're such fucking idiots.
Sure, but I've never heard somebody that's like, I've never heard that concern in my entire life.
So it is folic acid that pregnant women take because,
right?
And maybe that's also okay. It is folate, which makes sense. I thought that's what it was, but it can prevent birth defects.
Okay.
Which I would ostensibly mean it's protecting the DNA that is going from
just pumping in that DNA. Get as much DNA as possible.
I got Guinness in my DNA.
My eyeballs are floating in DNA. It's all filled to him.
But as the setup I had earlier was the gallons of Guinness, the largest glass of beer that was ever made.
In what book of records, might I ask?
The Guinness Book of World Records. It contained 1,499 liters, which is 329.74 gallons of Guinness. And that was prepared at the Auld Lang Syne Dubliner Irish Pub in Tustin, California.
Wow. See,
Stone Cold Tustin, California.
How many gallons was that?
329.
What was the pub?
The Auld Dubliner Irish Pub.
When I was singing Auld Lang Syne, isn't that the New Year's song?
Yeah.
When I was singing Auld Lang Syne, I was filled with about 329 gallons of beer.
Were you?
I was hungover for a while.
Well, good.
Yeah.
You had a happy. Yeah. How was your New Year, Joe? This is the first one we recorded in the new year of 2018.
Yeah. New Year was good. We actually, I pumped myself a little full with beer, but not more than usual.
Mm-hmm.
Went to a small party that you refused to go to.
Mm-hmm.
We won't get into it here on live on air. But it was a pretty casual party. We drank some champagne. We watched the fireworks come off the Space Needle.
Nice.
I drank a little too much champagne for my own good. And then we went skiing.
You a fan of champagne, by the way?
No, but there is something about it in like an occasion. When you're popping a bottle of champagne,
Sure.
It just feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a bachelor party or if it's New Year's or something, there's something to it that screams like this is a celebration rather than just another day of sitting around and drinking
Most
beers.
of it is like the pop at the start,
yeah,
right?
that alone is fun, and then it kind of starts to fizz, and a pop is like, it's kind of like a fart where it's like a guaranteed, when somebody farts, you can kind of be like, fart. Like, it's funny.
Physical comedy.
Sure. And a pop, it doesn't make you laugh, but it goes pop, and everybody goes, oh, it's like a firework or something.
Yeah.
And what a great, like, rush of endorphins to start, like, then drinking the champagne and celebrating whatever you're celebrating. So, had some champagne, felt a little hungover, went skiing anyway, fell down a mountain the whole day.
Nice.
Soaked in an Epsom salt bath till I was brined. And that was it. That was good for the day. How about you? Well, I know what you did. We started the New Year's Eve together. We drank some beers.
We did,
We
yeah.
played like the sumo
Played some
wrestling.
tabletop sumo.
Sumo.
From the Sharper Image.
Another
Promo
sponsor of the
code
show.
Cold Cans.
Friend of the show.
That was a fun game, though.
Yeah, it is.
My
It's
roommate
great.
got that from
Remote
his
control
uncle.
sumo wrestlers tell you knock each other off the table. It's a lot of fun.
It's fun. My New Year's, I was at home, and I got out a little pen and paper and was just kind of writing, jotting,
Wow.
doodling,
Right, and what?
trying to be like productive, like what my goals
New
were.
Year's Eve?
Well, I mean, like, because I wasn't out partying, because I didn't really want to go out partying. I wasn't in the mood. I just like kind of wrote down like what I wanted to do in the new year.
Oh, sure.
I tried to
Resolutions.
embrace the whole, like new start, new me,
New year, new you.
new year, new beer, new me.
Yeah. Did Cold Cans have any resolutions that you were writing down?
No.
Oh, boy. Now
In
the
fact,
listeners know what they truly are. They're just fucking listeners to Patreon.
No, they're friends who I wish I could speak with in real life.
Uh-huh.
So that was my New Year's. Yeah. Then my roommate got home, and
So you a little pissed up, pickled up?
He was a little pickled up.
Yeah.
He was downtown.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Downtown. Eric went downtown. God.
Is this interesting to the community?
Now. Sure. Are you finished with your Guinness?
I nearly am. Are you?
No.
Okay.
The widget's getting in the way. That ball in there is huge.
I know. I want to crack this sucker open.
It's the size of a ping pong ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't quite have it the rest of the way down. Like you said, I don't know. The flavor doesn't have me coming back, to be completely honest.
I know. We
Like,
might
there's a
have
lot
to
of
go
beer that we
extra
just
stout
sucked
at
in.
some point.
Yeah, but we just sucked down a ton of this beer. Oh, Nick, be careful. Nobody cuts themselves as much as Nick Patry. Nick bleeds like you'd never. I think he might be
fearless.
some sort of hemophiliac that. And he's currently cutting into this can of Guinness in front of me, and I'm worried about him.
Oh.
This might be the first cold. Oh God, this might be the first legally admissible cold cans when somebody blames me.
Ooh.
Okay,
A little
be
smaller
careful.
than a ping pong ball.
Wow. Yeah, it is a little. It's like a cheap off-brand ping pong ball. That's what
Yeah.
it looks like.
Bad seams on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have the like little ridges on it, which I assume is what initiates the fizz,
Must be, yeah.
the Fonz.
It's the widget. Oh my God, you did really pop that in your mouth. I thought you were going to swallow it. That noise wasn't just acting like he was going to eat it. Nick sucked that thing down.
I hadn't had dinner yet.
I'm a little randy over here.
Give me a garden hose, I can suck a ping pong ball through that too.
Oh, yeah. Like the great Stanley Kubrick once included in one of his movies. Did you enjoy this Guinness? This is the real question I wanted to ask.
It's so light and like runny.
There's just nothing there. That sucks that it's lame. I was not expecting this to be lame. And
Did we do
pissing off an
something wrong?
entire country.
I know.
No, you read the directions. Enjoyed, poured into a glass. Use the widget. Like, get it to pour. We did everything right. There is some debate about whether Guinness should be served cold or warm.
Right.
But I think the common knowledge is that the Irish prefer it to be served cold. Like, I think people think, like, oh, no, you got to drink Guinness warm. They drink it warm over there. But actually, they prefer it cold, is what I read online.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think we did everything right. There's just
All right.
not a lot to it. But maybe that's the point. Maybe this is the drinking man's beer of Ireland, which is certainly better than, like, maybe the equivalent, like a Budweiser or something over here. Like, they're drinking something a little bit, like, I don't know, with a little bit more
Yeah.
to it. But we were expecting some sort of super complex, like, interesting beer, probably because of marketing and how good their branding is.
And like the black can, and
Right.
it's always like a procedure of pouring it and stuff like that. This only has 125 calories per 12-ounce serving. So that's not like crazy
No.
high.
No, I think it's just the color makes you think it's going to be this thick, like creamy thing, but it is. It's better. This is probably in the not to jump to the rankings, but this is probably in the class of like those like the deplorables, right? It's in the class of all these mass market beers. This is absolutely what one of these is. And this is better than all those. So that you got to give them that. Like
that's true.
It's not going to compete with some of the best beers that we've drank. It's not like a Elysian nighttime, or not Elysian, Lagunitas nighttime or something like that. But it's better than our mass market shit here in America.
I agree.
What's Beer Advocate have to say, Nick? I see. Are you looking for the BA score?
BA gives it a 3.56 out of 5, which translates to good.
Yeah, there's none of the rest of those beers that we did were translated to good.
Yeah, 7,800 reviews, so a lot of tastings.
Yeah, are there any interesting user comments? We always have some fucking lunatics that are on there.
Oh, this one might be fitting. Okay. The first phrase fits what we were just talking about.
Okay,
this is from Act 25, one of the more normal usernames you'll see.
Wow.
Though he did post it at 2:27 a.m. on Tuesday. He says, BAers, that's not Brian Anderson, that's Beer Advocators.
I'm a BAer, though, in real life. Go Brewers. Go Crew.
Go Crew. Love to bash mass. So, bash mass market beers.
Jesus.
And of all the mass beer in the world, if I'm stuck with one, it would be Guinness. Most don't realize how light a beer the Draught is at 4.2% ABV. Less calories or fewer calories than Amstel, floats on your IPAs and sweetens, tempers them in black and tans, and pleases the ladies. Okay.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
All right.
This guy's an aspiring something. I often order a black and tan. I often order a black and tan / IPA when out to keep things lighter. To me, Guinness or coffee are about the only additives to beer that work.
Interesting. He adds Guinness to beer. Never heard of such a thing.
Like a black and tan?
I guess okay.
Yeah.
Because I never really thought about it, though. I never really thought about the purpose of that. It's adding Guinness for its properties, like adding coffee to something.
A lighter.
Yeah. Huh. That is kind of like that's a good way to put what we're drinking. It's almost like an ingredient, like to something that it's certainly like a base to something that would be much better. But on its own, it's good, like Act 2 said in his sensual writing.
Act 25.
Act 25. Act 2 is popcorn. What's your favorite popcorn? You an Act 2 man? They have
like
the best extra butter.
Popcorn?
Yeah. They have the best extra butter, in my opinion.
I'm an Orville Redenbacher man.
Redenbacher. Hey, Redenbacher, might as well call you Rockefeller because old Redenbacher always blew Act 2 out of the water.
It is, yeah. It is expensive.
I can't afford that shit. So I grew up on Act 2, might I add.
It shows.
Extra butter. Give me that butter. And then put a piece of
always oil.
But then put a real piece of butter in a little cup, microwave that, and pour that over the top.
Yeah.
And
I'm all for that.
Those kernels that shrivel right down because they got like all the butter.
Yeah.
That mixed with some of the unbuttered ones, it's money.
Did you ever have a whirly pop, the stirring?
Yeah.
The one that would stir on its own?
Yeah,
and then when it got going, you had to shake it.
And you could, I had a whirly pop with a handle that you could turn.
You could crank.
It would crank it and build everything up. But it just got sick of it, and then it's still sitting like in a shelf somewhere, and then like with like the quesadilla maker and stuff like that. And then I'm just microwaving my popcorn. Have you ever heard of the trick for adding butter in the movie theater?
Yes, I have.
So Devin, my wife, introduced me to this trick, and this is for the listener then, the paltry listener, is, when you get your bin of movie theater popcorn, back in the day, they used to butter it for you, and everybody was an expert butterer. Now they give it to you, and they're like, go to the trough over there, you fat fuck, and start dumping butter on top of it.
So and by the way, it's twice the price.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
And so you go over there, and you're putting the butter on top, and then your first few handfuls of popcorn are rich and laden with butter, and you're watching you're not even watching the previews yet. You're watching the TV commercials, and
you're in ecstasy.
What's up next? And you're watching a Geico ad or whatever. Then the previews start. Now you're halfway, and now your butter is pretty much gone. Well, the way to avoid that is to stick a straw into the butter machine. The butter machines have a pointy tip. You stick a straw into that. and then you put the straw halfway down.
I don't think they even have the pointy tip, actually.
They just have like.
I think
what?
you gotta position it.
Some of them
so
have
it's a little bit of
pointy tip.
art.
I've
There's an
definitely
art to
seen
it.
that. But if you have to position it, that's so you position the straw over the stream, and then you stick the straw into halfway down or all the way down your popcorn, and then the butter starts to fill in from down there. And then when you do your shaking, now you're really getting some good distribution of movie theater butter.
Mm-hmm.
And goddamn, that's one of the true joys of going to the movies, is eating whatever it is that they can do with popcorn.
It is, yeah. And you put down like 2,300 calories during a 2-hour movie.
You feel terrible halfway through a movie.
Yeah.
Like this gross, like this shitty film in your mouth, like
That's the worst part.
the
Yeah.
salt and all that fake butter. You're in the middle of the whatever Avengers movie they're on now, and you have a vat of soda, like 70 ounces of soda. The thing is like the size of a baby. It weighs like 22 pounds.
Mm-hmm. You got to buy a seat next to you just to hold your soda.
God damn it, do I love it.
Anyway, this Guinness.
So Guinness, going back to Guinness. So best enjoyed poured into a glass, but both of us were kind of more or less underwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer.
But I think the point you're making is good. It is what it is, in that it's a mass market kind of light beer.
Yeah.
And for that, it's clearly above all of those beers.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the rankings, and our deplorables section, Coors Light is the highest beer in the deplorables category. So above deplorables, we have Wild Card. And so it's Coors Light's the highest, then Miller Lite, then Michelob Ultra, and so on all the way down. This is after the great re-rankings of 2018.
So people demanded and people got.
Yes. And above that is actually a couple more sort of mass market type stuff. There's Scheffenhofer, Hefeweizen, Grapefruit, Rolling Rock, PBR, and then Eyinger. Like
Eyinger.
I would.
Eyinger.
I haven't heard enough Irish accent out of you in this episode.
Eyinger.
I would put this, Eyinger would put this below Eyinger and above PBR, because I feel like it's better than all that shit below, but it's not better than Eyinger.
Man, we should have fucking plummeted Eyinger to the bottom of the rankings. I hate that beer.
So you think this is better than Eyinger?
I enjoy it more than Eyinger, yes. But
Eyinger disagree with you. I ain't gonna disagree with you. I am gonna. It sounds like
it's not even fair. I won't even compare it to Eyinger though. I'm okay with where you have it by PBR, below, right above PBR, below Eyinger.
Above PBR and below Eyinger is where I have it. Okay, so that's like right in the middle. That seems just about right. It's better than most beers, but
right. Not a special occasion beer.
Kind of underwhelmed us.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a bummer.
I think once we found out though what it is,
Yeah, I guess.
I always had a higher mindset.
And the listeners should know.
idea of what it was.
The lowly fucking listeners. Just
the listeners are good people.
Educated. Joe. No, I don't have contempt for the listeners. I love the listeners dearly. Guinness, on the other hand, do we say we love it? Or do we like it?
No, it ain't be writing home about it anytime soon.
You don't think you're some kind of beer lord, do ya, Guinness? 'Cause you're not.
The Cold Cans podcast is recorded in the Overcast Room at Cloud Studios in Seattle, Washington. Visit cloudstudiosseattle.com